Blessings, and welcome to EARTHEART Radio. Finally beginning to awaken from the illusion of separateness and broadcasting live from the KSKQ studios in beautiful Ashland, Oregon. Here's your host, Shankara Das.
AKA Derek Moody. Welcome to EARTHEART Radio Show. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Show number 11. Yeah, welcome. Today we will deliver positive news and music, but we'll also spotlight a saint as always, and I'll speak with my guest in about 1 minute. Thanks to all who contributed to our recent pledge drive. Please continue to make your generous donations online at kskq.org, or, of course, you could give us a call, 541-482-3999. Next week, my guest will be Southern Oregon kirtan artist Ganesha Das. We'll be engaging in conversation and playing music from his live album. And right now, of course, I'm very happy to have a guest here in the KSKQ studios. She is on the Ashland City Council, general manager of KSKQ Radio, and she, with help, converts old school buses into homes for families in need to reside in, which is absolutely awesome. We'll get to that and more. Right now, please help me welcome Julie Akins to the EARTHEART Radio Show. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you so much. Deep bow. I appreciate being here, and I appreciate the message behind what you're accomplishing with this show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are involved in so much, and I think we should start off talking about the City Council. I'll let you take it any way you want, but how does one get on the City Council?
Well, one has to be elected. So, and we have an election coming up, November 2020. And I would urge everybody, I know there's lots of talk about what we're going to do in the presidential race and in other races, but I would also urge people to stay connected locally and vote the down ballot, as we call it. Make sure to vote for your city councilors and on your city measures, because those are the things that directly impact your life on a day-to-day basis.
Very well said. What's happening with the City Council? I know you came in here and you're a little bit fired up. You said you had some things on your mind. What's going on right now currently with City Council, and how would you like to start this conversation?
Well, thanks for asking. I do have some things on my mind, and I want to preface it in the tone of the broadcast that you're offering to people, this concept of oneness. And politics is tough because it tends to be a very dual system. I'm right, you're wrong. It's sort of done in the Robert's Rule of Order debate methodology. And so a lot of time is spent trying to make somebody else wrong. And that's just sort of the way that game is played. But if we take it out of that arena and just talk about the issues as they present themselves, I think the thing that we have to keep in mind, and that I try to keep front and center, is the idea of compassion for each other as one community of people who wish the best for each other. And there is something coming up on Tuesday night on Main Street, Ashland City Council. The meeting starts at 6. That time has been changed to 6 p.m. So if you want to make a comment on this, please come early and fill out a comment card. The subject I want to talk about is the jail expansion. Jackson County is considering a massive expansion of its current jail. Right now, Jackson County holds 315 people at any given time. They lodge them in the jail while they wait for adjudication on their charges. The Jackson County Sheriff is proposing nearly tripling that bed size to 800 beds at a cost of, I have to take a breath before I say this dollar figure, $166 million.
Wow.
$166 million. So what does that mean to you? For every household in Jackson County, that is an additional cost of $200. So we have to think long and hard. What are we getting for our $200? And who are we incarcerating? And why is it that we need to have 500 more beds to incarcerate people? It's a pretty big question, isn't it?
It's a huge question.
So here's what I've come upon in researching this, because I didn't have my mind fully made up about how I would vote on this. And as an Ashland City Councilor, we're being asked to certify this for the ballot. If we vote no, then people in Ashland don't vote on this. And I had a thought of like, well, people should have a right to vote. But here's the thing. If this passes, even if the majority of citizens in Ashland don't want it, they still have to pay the $200 a household. So I represent Ashland, and I don't think it's in our interest to pay $200 a household for this thing.
And that should be plenty incentive for somebody to act instead of being apathetic. Do you want to pay the money? Or even if you don't, I mean, either way, you should be involved, right?
Yeah, I think so. So here's the deal. I've been watching the booking sheets. Who's actually in the Jackson County Jail? Because some of the arguments speak to fear. Like, if we don't build this, then we're going to have dangerous people roaming the streets because we can't keep them incarcerated because we don't have enough beds. Okay, that's just not true. If you look at the bookings for several months and actually years in the Jackson County Jail, what you're going to find is roughly 10% of the people incarcerated currently are incarcerated on charges of violent crimes. Now, keep in mind, they haven't been adjudicated, their charges, so we don't know if they're guilty or not. But just being charged with a violent crime, there's like 10%. Most of the people who are residing in the Jackson County Jail right now are people who are in there because of poverty or illness. They're either drug addicted and they've been popped on simple possession of a drug and they need treatment, not incarceration. Mm-hmm. Or they've been picked up on charges associated with homelessness, trespass, failure to appear, trying to have a warming fire, things like that. And they're sitting there languishing in the jail. That's most of the people who are in there. They're not violent, and incarceration doesn't benefit them. People with mental illness who are charged with disorderly conduct. We know, we have generations of research on this. We know with an absolute certainty that incarcerating people does not help them with mental illness, does not cure addiction. Let me be clear, does not cure addiction. The sheriff says, if you give me this $166 million, I'm super going to help these people who are struggling with addiction. What's his plan?
Yeah.
He's going to incarcerate people and people who are homeless, languishing in the jail and that ruins their life. They lose whatever low-paying jobs they have. Oftentimes they lose family. They're traumatized. It's harder to recover. It doesn't work. So I had to ask myself, what the heck is this about?
Yeah. Money, right?
Well, you pegged it. It's incarceration for profit. I was reading this tragic article in The Intercept about this, and this has become a trend. Apparently, counties all over the country are seeking larger jails for mass incarceration, and what they do is they lease their jail beds out to state prisons who are overcrowded, to other counties who are overcrowded, and to federal agencies, yes, federal agencies, where they charge them a lease rate per bed. So it's actually a money-making situation. And that's why the sheriff wants to do it. He wants to line the pockets of the Jackson County Sheriff's Department so that he can buy more toys, or I don't know what his motivation is, but it's purely mass incarceration for profit. We don't have privatized prisons in the state of Oregon because we don't believe in that. We don't believe that we should make money on the backs of our most vulnerable citizens. It's not the Oregon way. And this Jackson County jail expansion is not the Oregon way. And frankly, I'm getting so fired up because I find it to be cruel. I find it lacking in compassion. And I'm so tired of vengeful solutions that they think are going to solve problems that only make problems worse. It's research-based. We know this doesn't work. Why are we still making a run at this? And why do we have to use fear to motivate people? It's not a motivator. Just stop pushing down on that pedal and start actually figuring out ways to care for each other. Yes. For $166 million, you have no idea how many people I could house for that money. Think about the wraparound services that we could give to people who are struggling daily with addiction and mental illness.
And I read something really disturbing yesterday. Just yesterday, I was watching a YouTube clip of a gentleman who had just gotten out of prison, and he said he came out of prison more addicted to drugs than when he went in. That's disturbing.
And really realistic. really realistic, because people find ways. You know, if you're an addict and you're not getting appropriate care, you're not getting mental health counseling, and many studies have shown people turn to addiction not because they're weak, but because they're alone, they're unloved, they don't have anybody to turn to. So our solution is doing what? Incarcerating them, putting them in a concrete block by themselves. That doesn't cure addiction. That doesn't cure anything.
That's just continuing the problem, if not making it worse, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
well, you brought up the subject of people having homes outside of jails and what you could do with all of that money to help folks have homes. I've been watching for quite a while, and with the help of your partner, have been converting old school buses into homes. It's extremely awesome to hear somebody doing that. And then I saw you were a guest on the Kelly Clarkson national television show about this very topic. So how did that start for you? How did you get into the business of converting buses for people to have as homes?
Well, actually, it started because I was researching for a book I'm writing called One Paycheck Away, and I was researching how people wind up being homeless. And so I traveled from Seattle all the way through Los Angeles and into the Imperial Desert, trying to sort out what causes homelessness. Because frankly, I could see it on the rise. I think we all can, and I didn't know what was behind it. I had suspicions, but no proof. So I set out on the road and I did this exploration and found out that the reason people are homeless is because they don't have enough money for a house. It's really pretty simple. The majority. Some people have coexisting conditions, such as some people do have addictions and some people have felony records and it's hard to get a job, and some people struggle with mental illness, and that's part of it. But you might be surprised to know that 2/3 of people who are homeless are there due to economic conditions, and that's a super big number, and it's growing. Right now, 45 million Americans are right on the edge of becoming homeless because they pay more than 50% of their income in rent.
Hence One Paycheck Away.
Hence One Paycheck Away. Exactly right. Actually, what was I going to say here? Part of the problem with it, too, is a lack of health care. The number one reason people go bankrupt is they get sick and can't pay their medical bills. So those are the reasons why people become homeless, and that's why I was studying it for the book, and those are the conclusions I made, along with a whole bunch of other. I could bore you to death with data, but the bottom line is it looks like this. You go to a homeless camp where people are subsisting under very difficult conditions, no daily shower, trucking in big jugs of water, and they're living there. Two parents with children, and folks are getting up very early in the morning and taking a shower in buckets, and they are going to low-paying jobs and taking their kids to school and hoping for a better life. And I saw that, and I thought, if it takes me the rest of my life, if it takes me my last breath, I got to do something to help this, because it's just heartbreaking. And you know what? It's not right. It's not American. It's not who I am. And never mind American. I don't want to sound like a nationalist here. It's not human to allow people to suffer that way when they don't have to. It's completely and totally needless. So that got me going. And I started asking people, like, if you could have any sort of a house, what would you have, beyond like a mansion? What would you realistically want? And so many people were fired up about this idea of schoolies, which is taking a school bus. And actually, I do want to correct the record. Our buses are not old. We have really pretty good buses that have just gone out of commission and donated by the school district, and they're cherry as heck.
Wow.
I mean, they're in super good shape, shiny, everything perfect, low mileage. Like, these things are the envy. And what we do is we strip them down and we make 240 square foot, immaculate, artistic, well-made, well-appointed homes with recessed lighting and granite countertops and a full kitchen, showers, toilets, master bedroom. They're just super nice. Little fireplaces.
Man, you're making me want one.
I know. I kind of want one.
What about the criteria? Like, how would you decide who would get this, or how would you pick out the family that would to get the bus to live in? How does that work?
Well, we have an application process that we actually poached from other nonprofits who house homeless folks. And there is some criteria. I'd like it to be lower barrier, but you can't really do that with something that's drivable. So step one, you have to have children under 18, because this is about housing homeless children first and foremost, because it's absolutely unthinkable that we have all of our future resources traumatized out on the street in the form of our children. So step one, got to have kids. Step two, got to be clean and sober. That doesn't mean you can't have a glass of wine or, smoke some legal marijuana once in a while, but you can't have an addiction issue.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be fully functional. You have to have some form of income, because you have to be able to lease your own RV space. And then you have to you have to write an essay to explain why you want this, how you feel this will change your life, what your situation has been, how you became homeless, and then ultimately why you want to live in a schoolie, because it's not for everybody, but
Right.
for those who like it, it's awesome.
Oh, I'm sure it's life-changing. How long does it take to convert a bus into being livable?
Well, the first one is the second book I'm writing, which is how to convert a school bus, because I probably made every mistake, once or twice. They say measure twice, cut once. I cut twice and measured once. So
Okay.
I've learned to do better. But realistically, if you've got a good team, and I do now, we have a site up in Eugene with a professional builder and his assistant. If you got a good team, you can knock one out in 4 months.
Wow.
And the total tax license out the door, $25,000. And I want you to know that this is not a transitional house. This is a forever home.
Wow.
So you take homelessness off the table for a family for the rest of their life if they want that.
So are you getting school buses donated? Is it something that's happening often, or is it hard to get school buses?
It's happening often. The Ashland
Yes.
School District has been an absolute rock of support for us. They've given us, we have 3 buses now, and we're in queue to have 2 more.
Now, is there a name of your organization?
There is. It's vehiclesforchanges.com. We're going to be changing that name shortly, because it sounds very close to another organization called Vehicles for Change, and they buy your car for $1. And so that's a different organization. But our website will redirect you. Right now, it's vehiclesforchanges.com.
And you were recently a guest on the national television show, The Kelly Clarkson Show. How was that experience?
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, was it fun?
I'm just quoting a Kelly Clarkson song for those of you who are fans.
Right over my head. I admit it. I didn't know.
Oh, if I could sing like her, I would just walk around singing all the time. She's a phenomenal woman. Strong, beautiful, supportive, compassionate. She was actually homeless when she auditioned for American Idol. She auditioned out of the back seat of her car.
Wow.
And had to make her audition outfit out of a pair of sweatpants, if you can imagine that. So she knows all about this stuff. It was a fantastic experience. Universal flew me down, put me up in Universal Studios Hotel, which I'm like, it's a little hubris to call yourself Universal. I don't think they have a signal on Mars. But anyway, and I'm not really a show busy gal, so it was pretty overwhelming. And, makeup and hair, and it's kind of the green room. It was a whole lot of hubbub. But, once I got out there and I got the opportunity to talk about this, I got super lit up, and we had a really good conversation. And I just hope it does some good. Basically, I just hope somebody heard it and thought, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely inspiring. I heard you talking with somebody, or maybe it was on the internet. I think it was something I read. And I think you said something to the effect of how, since you started doing this, you've noticed that in all four corners of the country, people are converting school buses into homes. Is this becoming sort of a thing?
It's becoming a thing. Yeah, we're that's really our goal, is to germinate the idea, because we could never make enough homes for all the people who are homeless ourselves. So what's happening is we're getting phone calls. We got a call from a young man, a middle school student in the Bay Area, who's starting this as a school project. I get calls from Florida, North Carolina. There are people across the country who are picking up on this idea, and if they want us to help them, we send them our marketing plan, our business plan, our mission and vision, and our building plans, and even our list of supplies, so they can kind of figure out how to do this. And if they run into a hitch, give us a call.
Okay, and if people would like to donate, they would go to vehiclesforchanges.com?
Yeah, vehiclesforchanges with an S.com. And there's some people don't like the first button on the website's GoFundMe. Some folks don't like GoFundMe. So go all the way to the bottom, and there's another button that says donate that's red, and that goes to PayPal.
Okay.
So either way,
there's a choice.
Yeah.
And one of the other things, since we don't have a whole lot of time on this show for talking, I would like to ask you about the fact that you are the general manager, I would say, at KSKQ now. How is that so far?
Well, you know what? I really support this radio station, and I volunteered to do it because I believe in the variety of voices. And we have a disturbing trend in this country based on a long plan by people in high places to funnel the voice into just a few people who have a lot of money. And these folks go around and they grab up radio stations and television stations and newspapers, and they create a monopoly in the market of one voice. In this community, it's Sinclair Broadcasting. They own Channel 10, the Ashland Tidings, used to be the Daily Tidings, not anymore, Ashland Tidings, and Medford Mail Tribune. There's an example of just actually two brothers who own the whole schlemiel, and they take over the voice. So
have they tried to purchase the station?
No. But this station, KSKQ, offers an opportunity for people to have a different voice, to hear a different point of view. And because it's locally based and nonprofit, folks can just apply to the programming committee and get on the radio and have a good time, share their music, share their heart, share their ideas, and just have a different set of voices out there. And I think that's important. It's not to say that the other broadcasters in this community are not doing a good job. KOBI TV5 is locally owned by the Smullen family, and they've been rocking it for a long time. KDRV, Channel 12, is not owned by the Sinclair brothers. They're good folk. JPR also does an amazing job. So shout out to all our colleagues. But KSKQ is the one place where if you're a community member and you have a thought and you want to do a good thing, you can come here and you can get on the radio and talk to your community. I just think that's exciting and vital and important, and I'm very pleased and proud to be a part of it.
Me too, and grateful. I did have another question I noticed that I had put on my paper about City Council, and it's a pretty brief question. But as a citizen, what is the best way for us to interact with City Council in order to implement change or get the ball rolling or be heard? What is the best way for a citizen to interact with City Council?
I'm super glad you asked that. A lot of citizens believe that the way to do that is to email us, and that's a method. But to be honest, it's important to be on the record. That's what really counts. It doesn't really matter until you're on the record. So what I would really ask citizens to do is participate in that way, which means that you come to City Council every other Tuesday at 6 o'clock, Main Street, 6 p.m., and there's a point where you can offer public testimony, and please do that. I know it seems scary, but it's not scary at all. You sit in a chair, they give you 3 minutes, the counselors listen to you. We don't get to say anything to you, but look for my face. I'll be smiling and nodding my head at you and thumb up that you're coming. So whatever it is you have to say, agree, disagree, doesn't matter. Please raise your voice, because this city council represents you. This is your city. It belongs to you. You own it. You pay for it. You get to say what happens. And I really look forward to seeing you there.
Nice. Well said. And if folks want to contact you besides making a donation, do they still go to vehiclesforchanges.com to leave you a message or to correspond with you?
Absolutely. Love to hear from you.
Okay, once again, that is www.vehiclesforchanges.com. Our guest has been Julie Akins. Julie, thanks a million for stopping by.
Thank you so much. I love your show. I appreciate being asked.
Aw, thanks so much. And I appreciate you being here, and best of luck in the future. And we'll be voting for you come 2020, Julie.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much. Julie Akins is the guest. You are listening to KSKQ, the Earth Heart Radio Show. I am Derek Moody, a.k.a. Shankara Das. We do have music for you on the way. Also going to spotlight a saint, and we'll deliver some positive news. Right now, I think we'll take a break and hear some music. That sounds like it's something that would be a good thing to do at this point in time. I do have a beautiful song I picked out by Banco de Gaia. It's a song called We All Know the Truth, which is also called You Have God, right here at Earth Heart Radio Show and KSKQ. Thanks for being here.
and feel the truth in your heart. Feel the sound around you and feel the souls within.
Community, love, truth, nature, spirit. Earth Heart Radio on KSKQ.
You are at KSKQ Radio at the Earth Heart Radio Show. I must say, the views and opinions expressed during this show are those of the speaker or guest and do not necessarily represent the views of KSKQ, the Multicultural Association of Southern Oregon, or the underwriters of KSKQ. Thank you for being here, my friends. Got about another 30 minutes or so to go before, of course, Peace Talks Radio fires up. And then I'll be back this evening with my lovely co-host, Sister Tracy, to bring the Church of Rock radio show tonight at 7 p.m. And it's a 20-year running tradition. Super happy that those who do join us every week for that journey. Underwriting support for KSKQ comes from the Medford Food Co-op. Medford Food Co-op nurtures a vibrant, healthy community and abundant local food system with organic produce, sustainable meats, gourmet cheeses, and a wide selection of gluten-free, vegan, and vegetarian options. The cafe offers fresh meal solutions for busy schedules, including house-made hot soups, custom sandwiches, creative salads, and a variety of hot entrees. Medford Food Co-op and the cafe are open daily 7 to 9 at 945 South Riverside, just north of Barnett in Medford. Online at medfordfood.coop. My friends, Shankara Das here, a.k.a. Derek Moody. You are at the Earth Heart Radio Show. Thanks again to my guest, Julie Akins, who joined me earlier, and that was a fun discussion, in my opinion.
All paths lead to getting higher up the proverbial mountain. Earth Heart Radio with Shankara Das on KSKQ.
My friends, it is time to do something that I enjoy doing each and every week. I really, really do.
Saints, angels, avatars, sages, yogis, holy men, medicine women, helpers, elders, revolutionaries, and advocates of love. Today we honor and show love, respect, and gratitude.
Namaste. If you're just tuning in, you are at the Earth Heart Radio Show, and every single week on the show, I like to spotlight a very high-frequency soul residing in a human body temporarily, of course. Today is no exception, and I'm going to be speaking of a great saint who is still living and doing great work on the planet Earth today. I'm speaking of Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, a.k.a. Amma. That's right. Amma was born September 27th, 1953. She's better known as Amma. You know, her actual birth name is a mouthful for me. But did you know that Amma means mother? Well, it does. Amma is a Hindu spiritual leader, guru, and humanitarian who is revered as a hugging saint by her followers. As a child, Amma, part of her chores was to gather scraps of food for her family, cows, and goats. Though when she was confronted with the intense poverty and suffering of others, it did really affect her deeply. She would bring people clothing and food for her own home, and her family wasn't wealthy by any means, so they would scold and punish her, but she continued to embrace others. Regarding her desire to comfort others, Amma commented, "I don't see if it's a man or a woman. I don't see anyone different from my own self. A continuous stream of love flows from me to all creation. This is my inborn nature. The duty of the doctor is to treat patients. In the same way, my duty is to console those who are suffering." Those were the words of Amma. In 1981, after spiritual seekers had begun residing at her parents' property in the hopes of becoming a disciple, the Mata Arata Andamayi Math, it's called MAM. It's a worldwide foundation. It was founded in Amma's name. Amma continues to serve as chairperson of the Math. The Math is engaged in many charitable activities. As to how her hugging tradition began, Ma said, quote, "People used to come and tell me their troubles. They would cry, and I would wipe their tears away. When they fell weeping into my lap, I used to hug them. The next person, too, wanted it, and so the habit picked up." Amma has embraced more than 33 million people throughout the world for over 30 years. Amma accepts the various spiritual practices and prayers of all religions as but different methods toward the same goal of purifying the mind. Along these lines, she stresses the importance of meditation, performing actions as karma yoga, selfless service, and cultivating divine qualities such as compassion, patience, forgiveness, and self-control. Amma has said that these practices refine the mind, preparing it to assimilate the truth that one is not the physical body and mind, but the eternal, blissful consciousness that serves as the non-dual substratum of the universe. Since 1998, the Math has constructed over 47,000 houses for homeless in 75 locations in India. It also runs orphanages for 500 children. They manage several hospitals, and healthcare clinics provide free healthcare. Free. It's provided totally free medical care and surgeries to more than 4 million people since 1998. This includes heart surgeries, brain surgeries, kidney transplants. They do also offer a sliding scale for the folks that are able to pay. The great Saint Amma will be meeting devotees in Los Angeles, California, November 21st and 22nd for public programs. She'll be there the 23rd through the 25th offering a retreat. You can check online if you're interested. She'll also be in Michigan Wednesday, November 27th for a public program, and also in the state of Michigan, November 28th through the 30th, offering a retreat up there in lovely Michigan. How about a couple of quotes from the great Amma? Here's a couple. Quote, "Anyone who has tasted prema bhakti, devotion with supreme love, even for a second, will never waver from it. But such devotion does not arise in everyone. Not everyone who enters a lottery gets first prize. That only goes to one person among millions. True devotion is like that. Only 1 in a million will experience it. One more quote from Amma, and I'll play you a song. Quote, "A spiritual person finds happiness in being loving and compassionate towards everyone, even towards those who are against him. He is like a tree that gives shade, even to those who are in the act of cutting it down." Wow. The great Saint Amma. You're at the Earth Heart Radio Show. I am Shankara Das, a.k.a. Derek Moody, and this is Simon and Garfunkel.
Namaste from Earth Heart Radio and KSKQ.
Please let go of your fear. Positive news is here.
Things aren't as bad as it seems, no matter what they say. News with an agenda is meant to instill fear. True news can instill hope.
It's absolutely true. Julie Akins was in here earlier talking about how a certain number of men own most of the media outlets. Well, not here at KSKQ. You're hearing something that's not being controlled by a corporate entity. Positive news. Yeah, we've got about 4 stories today. One of them, a transplant story to touch your heart. Lori Wood, an ICU nurse in Georgia, met Jonathan Pinkard after she was assigned to become his caretaker back in December 2018. Pinkard was in desperate need of a heart transplant, but since his grandmother passed away several years earlier and his mother was in rehab, he was ineligible for the transplant list. This is because doctors require Oregon recipients to have stable systems so that patients are guaranteed to have someone to take care of them after the operation. So, for 4 months, he was in the hospital without hope of receiving a heart. Not only that, he was often discharged to a men's shelter because he had nowhere else to go. Then his luck changed when he met Lori Wood. Pinkard and Wood quickly bonded over their love of football and the Family Feud TV show, and as they became closer, she knew she had to help him. 2 days after meeting her, Wood offered to adopt him and became his legal guardian so he could be placed on the transplant list. Needless to say, he accepted. Pinkard underwent a successful heart transplant back in August. Wood, who Pinkard affectionately calls Mama, has been monitoring the young man's various medications and caring for him after his operation. See, angels do walk among us. Positive news story number 2. A YouTube star is planting millions of trees. Yep, what started as a celebratory milestone for a YouTube star has turned into a worldwide tree planting initiative. Jimmy Donaldson, known as Mr. Beast online, has become famous for using his internet fame and income for random acts of kindness. So when his YouTube channel's popularity hit 20 million subscribers earlier this month, he asked fans how he could celebrate the occasion. His viewers petitioned for him to raise $20 million and to use it to plant 12 million trees. He accepted the challenge with enthusiasm. The Arbor Day Foundation will plant the saplings from January 2020 until December 2022. The nonprofit will be choosing native tree species for public and private lands across every continent except Antarctica. 12 million trees. How cool is that? Another positive news story. Talk about mind-blowing. It's been 4 years since Chastity Patterson lost her beloved father. And just as she was finally preparing to let go of her grief, she got an astonishing text message out of the blue. Jason Lignon passed away in 2015, and he had never missed any of Chastity's school dances or sporting events. He was a good father. For 4 years, she's been texting her dad's old phone number, sending messages about her life, telling him about her challenges and troubles. Well, on the eve of the 4th anniversary of his death, she texted him one last time, telling him she would always love and miss him. So imagine her surprise when she suddenly got a text message back. It said, "Hi, sweetheart, I'm not your father, but I've been getting all your messages for the past 4 years. I look forward to your morning and nightly updates. My name is Brad, and I lost my daughter in a car wreck in 2014, and your messages have kept me alive. When you text me, I know it's a message from God. You're an extraordinary woman, and I wish my daughter would have had the chance to become the woman you are. Love never dies." Wow. Last story, my friends. I have one more positive news story for you, if I can find it. My notes are always a little bit chaotic, but that's okay. I did find it. Great news for people suffering with allergies. People with life-threatening food allergies may soon be free from having to worry about whether their meals might have secretly contain hints of deadly allergens. That's right. Israeli scientists have developed the handheld AllerGuard. It's a device to detect trace amounts of allergens in a meal simply by analyzing food vapors, and it can identify the allergens in just about 30 seconds. Before you eat, you simply hold the AllerGuard device over the plate of food. It will still require another 18 months of research and development before it's commercially available to you, but once the AllerGuard is available for purchase, they hope to sell the gadget for about $150. Technology can be so terrific, that's for sure. How about some more music? You are listening to the Earth Heart Radio Show on the KSKQ radio channel. Thank you for being here. Shankara Das, a.k.a. Derek Moody, on a lovely Sunday afternoon in the Rogue Valley of Southern Oregon. That's right, we are broadcasting from Ashland, Oregon, and for those of you that are local, you're like, yeah, duh. But there are people listening out there in other states, and I wish you would let me know if you're listening by going to the Earth Heart Radio Facebook page, perhaps, and saying hello to me. Of course, it's completely free, nonprofit, and costs nothing. Just call, say hello to me, man. Underwriting support for this program is brought to you by A Street Print and Parcel Community Business Center. Ashland, family-owned since 2008. A Street Print and Parcel is Ashland's one-stop printing, packing, and shipping center. Whether you need a quick print or 10,000 copies, a private mailbox, business cards, an urgent overnight delivery, or to simply mail a letter, A Street Print and Parcel does it all. Located at 258 A Street, number 1, in Ashland. Open Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 5:30. Their phone number is 541-552-0505 and online at www.astreetcopy.com. Next week, Ganesha Das will be here. A couple of more quotes from the great saint known as Amma. Here's a quote. "Children, love can accomplish anything and everything. Love can cure diseases. Love can heal wounded hearts and transform human minds. Through love, one can overcome all obstacles. Love can help us renounce all physical, mental, and intellectual tensions and thereby bring peace and happiness." Another quote from Amma. "Our duty towards God is compassion and love towards the poor and needy." Another quote from Amma. Only when human beings are able to perceive and acknowledge the self in each other can there be real peace." And we'll do one more. "Wherever you see men endowed with noble qualities and good dispositions, you will find a great mother who has inspired them to become what they are." And on that note, I will say Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for tuning in today, my friends. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I'll be back next Sunday at 2 o'clock with Earth Heart Radio Show number 12. A very special thank you to Rick in Kenosha, Wisconsin, who is running the Earth Heart YouTube channel, which is free and nonprofit. And we do store all of our archive shows there. Thank you, Brother Rick. Love you, brother. It's time to go. Om Namah Shivaya. You're listening to KSKQ 89.5 FM, Ashland, Oregon, and KSKQ translator K231CW 94.1 FM, Medford, Oregon. It's just about time for Peace Talks. Don't go away. And blessings to you.
You've been listening to Earth Heart Radio with your host, Shankara Das. Earth Heart Radio is produced by Shankara Das in association with Sister Tracy and Krishna Consciousness. Please tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for more Earth Heart Radio.